Welcome to Liberty Nation TV. I'm your host, Scott Cosenza, and joining me today to talk about the woke crisis in education and other topics is Pennel Bird from the left coast, who writes about education, vaccines, and other issues for LibertyNation.com, among other things. Welcome, Pennel.
It's my great pleasure to be here, Scott. Thanks for having me today.
Well, there's been some interesting news, I think. We have this Andrew Gutman letter to the parents at the fancy Beardley School in New York, which seems to have sort of cleared the path for others to kind of push back against some sort of woke craziness in the schools. Is that pushback, on critical race theory in public and private education real? What can you tell us about it?
I think it is real, Scott. The critical race train has been barreling across the landscape of America at sort of breakneck speed. It's been hard, I think, to adjust to the sheer velocity with which it's sort of overtaking education in this country. So conservatives and Republicans and such like are having a difficult time adjusting. This parent wrote a powerful letter. It's a real shot across the bow. He has the ability to do so. He's a parent of means, and he's basically voting with his feet and taking his children to another school based on the fact that he takes real exception to the way that critical race theory is being applied throughout the curriculum and across really all aspects of education.
Let's move along towards today's newspaper pages and your recent article on LibertyNation.com called "Accelerated Math: Latest Casualty of the Equity Crusade." I was particularly interested in this, Pennel, because from the left coast, you're writing about my backyard in Virginia and in Loudoun County specifically. So what's going on there, please?
It's another iteration of, I think, this effort to apply the principles of critical race theory in education. And basically what's happening is that the Loudoun County, I forget the name of it, but it's effectively the Board of Ed said, we are no longer going to offer Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and geometry until 11th grade. So no accelerated math until 11th grade, which leaves out sort of high achieving kids who are doing well in math and may have future careers in math. That kind of leaves them out high and dry. And I think what undergirds this is the idea that there are, a fair amount of kids and often some minority kids who don't do well in math. There could be a number of reasons for that. I know in personal experience, a lot of times they don't have the parent support because parents can be working. For whatever reason, there is not as high achievement. So rather than sort of try to encourage that in some way, what they're doing is saying, well, because it looks like it besmirches the achievement of those groups, we're going to get rid of it. So it's parents have been apoplectic, understandably.
It seems like math is maybe the hardest to fudge. You can't paint a picture about a math problem and submit that as your work and get it graded, right? You actually have to be able to do the math. So no. I know that when I was in college, I remember that the STEM field people, which we didn't have the word STEM then. My roommate was an engineering major though. Yeah. And I remember that like all his friends, they all had lower GPAs inside their major than outside their major. And that was not true for any of the other, by and large students that I was familiar with, because we were all experts in our own particular major course of studies. But their majors were so hard that when they went to any other department in the university, they were taking it on easy street because of the demanding aspects of the science and technology and math stuff that they were studying. So
yeah, I don't know that it's a good solution. I know that the Loudoun County tried to spin it in the ensuing days since the story broke, saying, well, we're going to be differentiating instruction. We're going to be assimilating seamlessly the principles of Algebra 1 and 2 and geometry into basic math. But I mean, that's speak. I really believe if you're going to teach algebra 1, algebra 2, and geometry, you got to teach it. You can't pretend it's part of another curriculum. So I think it's wayward, but there's a lot of pushback about it right now. So.
All right. Well, quickly before we go, you've also written about some, I think, good woke news out of Florida with the red state education reform looking a bit different. What are they doing there in the Sunshine State?
Quickly, they have decided to they proposed a bill they're trying to pass, which will allow students to record their professors' lectures. And that is, if needed, students will be able to provide evidence that their professors are showing bias, political bias or otherwise in the classrooms. So it's a real, it's basically, there's dangers in it, obviously weaponizing students against professors they may not like, but it's also putting an arrow in the quiver of those students who have been really marginalized and ridiculed. A lot of conservative students in classrooms in which they are the great minority in terms of diversity of viewpoint. So we'll see if that's a good idea. But as you say, it is actually a good sign that there's pushback along with this other news that people aren't just going to take critical race theory and run across America with it.
Well, I'll tell you what, we have to salute the students who suffer through these classes. I remember I was in 1995, was my college class year, and I remember it being barely tolerable then in terms of the indoctrination and just intolerance towards viewpoints that didn't favor state solutions to every problem. So,
oh my gosh, and that was back then, huh?
Well, that's it for us. Pennel, thanks so much for joining us on this edition of Liberty Nation TV. Remember to hit Liberty Nation News for original articles, The Uprising and Rabbit Hole podcasts, and our signature television program, The Conservative Five, where Pennel appears regularly. Just go to libertynation.com on your browser or hit Rumble, YouTube, or check out our Liberty Nation News Roku channel. I'm Scott Cosenza. Thanks for watching. This program is a production of libertynation.com. Conservative news where truth matters.
Who are we? We are Americans that believe in liberty. We are a project of the nonprofit One Generation Away. We are patriots who apply the founding principles to the issues of today.
And they keep moving the goalposts on us.
We are educators and commentators who love America and the Constitution. Who are we? We are Liberty Nation.